What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the bottom of the map in the blue color, playing as Loki. His name is Suppe, also known as Suppe, also known as Soup, the super duper soup. Someone send some help. I maybe need to go into the insane asylum, but that's fine. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Oranos. His name is Eb. Ebba. His name is Ebba. And yes, he is playing Oranos, and this is, I believe, the final game that these guys have agreed to play. We are just hanging out, Shoutcast Sunday, living the dream, having a fun time. The map is Tundra. And if you didn't notice just yet in this game, Soup has a very interesting start here. Soup went for very, very early wood gathering. Now, this accomplishes a couple of things. If you think about hyper efficiency in Age of Mythology, the amount of difference your villagers get for having hunting dogs versus not having hunting dogs is actually quite a lot. So while that's researching, hunting dogs takes 20 seconds to research, you could be gathering wood and you can get yourself 40 wood from a tree before hunting dogs is researched, which then means you can move over onto the food after that and be gathering at the full gather rate and be able to get yourself just that little bit more. It's like a tiny bit, it's a tiny bit more resources than you otherwise would. It doesn't matter that much, but what Soup has actually found from this kind of idea is that if he gathers wood at the start, he doesn't have to gather wood later, and he can delay himself his second ox cart. And what this means is that Soup can get to the classical age incredibly fast. And if Soup gets to the classical age incredibly fast, that gives him more opportunities to hit his opponent with big hammers of doom. Whack, whack. I'm a Herso. See? Whack, whack, whack. That's exactly what he does. Anyways, Eb, on the other hand here, is doing what looks to be, yes, it is simply just a 4:30 advance time. I don't see anything in particular here. He is eating his Aurochs, which I think that it's the best idea to save these Aurochs for Oranos here. For the most part, you get the advantage in the early game and you actually lose it coming a little bit later. So coming back into the Aurochs is going to be very helpful because you're going to get flaming weapons kind of all in your base. That's the general gist of how this matchup comes. If you defend the flaming weapons all in, you generally win. If you do not, you generally lose. And we don't like losing. Losing's bad. Now the citizens move up over here onto the Caribou, living the dream. We've got some relics here on this map. We've got the Tower of Cestus, which is a plus 30% tower range pierce damage relic. And up the other side of the map, we do have the Odin's Wand, which is your negative 20% cost on your temple upgrades, which would definitely help out Soup, who is trying to advance through Forcetti. He's a little bit later than I would have thought he would have been advancing here, but he's going through Forcetti here. He's going to make some funny walls. I wonder if... I'm pretty sure Soup uses the hotkey. I'm pretty sure he does. So there is this hotkey that you can use, which is going to allow you to build these full-length walls like you do in the editor. It's completely legal. It just looks a little bit funny. And the actual length of these walls is maybe a little bit less than if you have the extra little wall segment in the middle. But yeah, it saves just a little bit of gold. It doesn't really matter though. We do see Soup now moving up. He's going to grab himself the Tower of Cestus. Normally getting watchtowers in this matchup doesn't normally happen for the Loki player, but sometimes you do have to get it. We are starting to see those Ursa coming out as he wants to throw down a barracks fairly soon. There's the Longhouse coming up. The Troll is down. And we do see counter barracks, military barracks. Excuse me. For Eb. Counter barracks, military barracks for Eb. So he's going to be making himself Terma. He's going to be making himself a Mermiller. Now, I think that in this matchup, what you actually want to do is after you build around about 6 to 8 Terma, actually cut the Terma population and build 2 military academy. Take all your villagers off wood and put them all onto food, and then spam out those Mermillo as best as you can, because you want to have essentially a full Mermillo army with at least heavy upgrades and copper mail in order to defend against the Loki. And then you get through Thea and you can put some pressure on with your Stymphalian Birds. That's the general plan here, it seems. As far as I'm aware with Oranos, I'm yet to see an Oranos player play this matchup any way uniquely. I've tried doing kind of trying to match the fast mythic with Loki, with Oranos, and I think there's a way in which maybe going through Helios and sacking your base when your opponent comes in with the flaming weapons could actually be a way to go, because he moves in, you just say, okay, see ya, and you kill off all of his army. You send your citizens running all over the map to try and get as many resources as possible, and you essentially just say, look, we're gonna have a villager hunting party, and because you've got Hecaganti, you can kill off the enemy base very, very quickly. There is a world where that is actually possible, but I think the safer plan is to get heavy Mermillo and get copper mail or even bronze mail in order to defend, and maybe even get yourself the Heart of the Titans to get your hero conversion a little bit cheaper. As we do see Suppe now coming up here, wants to start looking at taking down the hero citizen here. But it's probably going to be defended. That being said, you don't really want to fight. Neither player really wants to fight at this point. Suppe wants to wait for his Hall of Fames. He does have a couple of raiding cavalry, which do make me a little bit head scratch at this point. I think that pure Hersa in this matchup is generally the way to go, but we are seeing Hersa raiding cavalry from Suppe. I guess he just wants to take down those Terma as best as he can, as we are seeing the Hersa getting taken out. Hall of Fames has been researched. A couple of Mermillo will be falling. No Mermillo falling. A Hack Oathbone going down as well. And that's a little bit upsetting there for Suppe, as he's got multiple different units moving all across the map, and Eb is defending beautifully here. So we do see this Ursa probably going to spot this mana, might decide to start targeting it down. We do see Suppe coming in here, and he will be attacking the citizen. We've got a bit of an Alt-S citizen here. Have to be careful with this one. Is going to be garrisoned into that mana completely fine. We see heavy infantry coming through for Eb as well, as Suppe is retreating back into his base. Suppe has finished up all of his hunt just about here. So this is a bit, I guess this is a big mistake from Suppe, actually, eating these Orc, because he could have been eating these very safely. He could have been over on this Elk instead, while he's putting all the pressure on the map, as we do see a troll getting produced by the Ursa, but he's going to get sniped down very quickly there by the hero Mermillos and the Terma hero. And now we do see Suppe swinging around to try and take down this hero citizen yet again. It's 95 population for Eb to 74 population for Suppe, and Suppe is trying, as it looks like, to get to the heroic age here. It doesn't look like he's got an armory just yet. You know, there's no armory here, so he's not able to advance. He's still trying to pump the units out. He's only on 2 military buildings going Shelty style. Yes, Shelty did play a mean Loki, and yes, Shelty only ever built 2 military buildings. Anyways, now we're moving out with the army. Suppe going to be looking to hit some villages somewhere here. He's actually deciding to not go that way, swing elsewhere. As we do see the army of Eb starting to move across the map. He's got his eyes set on hitting this food location here, as Suppe is 400 food, 600 gold. Definitely enough gold to get to the next stage. Lots of villagers on food, 11 here. And he's even got a whole bunch on food in his main base as well. So he will be able to advance very soon. He doesn't have the armory still. As meanwhile, we do see these Hersa targeting this mana down. He will be able to take it down incredibly fast. We see Suppe also eyeing off that relic there. Not going to be the most helpful, but maybe actually, if he decides to go Hell and get some of those upgrades from Hell, can be very, very helpful. As always, see the army of Eb coming in here to defend the repair rate of Eb's hero citizen. Going to be enough there to hold that location, as we do see a raid over on this location. 3 Hersa against 2 Mermillo will come out with a victory for Suppe, and it's looking like, I don't know if Suppe's doing this on purpose or not, but it's looking like Suppe is building up his myth unit spawn. As soon as he has population in the bank, he's going to get a whole bunch of myth unit spawns here. Now, whatever has been selected for his myth unit, whether that is troll, there's the spawn immediately as he gets population. The spawn is going to be either troll, Einherjar, or Valkyrie. He's not going to be able to get those mythic age ones if he does get to the mythic age here, is the point. And do we see that armory down just yet? Still no armory. He's chopping down the wood, trying to get up to that amount as he has to get pulled back here. Meanwhile, on this location, we do have a big raid onto the villages. We've even got Thea coming through for Ebb. He's actually playing this one very, very nicely as the villagers are starting to shank down these medium Murmillo, but he's realizing, Soup's realizing he has to retreat back. For some reason, not going through this location, getting back into his base. We see the army of Ebb taking these villagers down, and Soup is in an incredibly difficult position now, dropping villagers. Absolute chaos right now for Soup in terms of his economy. 27 villages to 14 citizen. 14 citizen, that's a huge economic advantage right now for Ebb. And we do see an Einherjar spawn here. This is going to be a big help for Soup as he's trying to get as many picks as he possibly can. Meanwhile, the Hearser over here getting taken down. Still no Bragi coming through for Soup as that armory has been longing to get up for the longest time here. 65 population. The flaming weapons is not going to be any help here as Bragi coming through. There's no food income really left here for Soup. Soup is on this gold mine. I would actually like to see Soup sneak this gold mine over here instead of staying on this one, because it's very unlikely that Ebb checks that location there. And we'll see what's going to happen as Soup needs to essentially get back up to full population and then just leave his base, go after Ebb, and try and take him down. Ebb is Thea right now, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Ebb trying his darnest to get himself immediate heavy Murmillo here. As we do see the raid onto the dwarves, pushing Soup off of gold. 99 favor for Soup as his temple falls. He's trying to get up a secondary temple now to build out some battle boar. There's just not that many resources remaining for Soup as there's no gold mines basically to be mined from for Soup as his Hearser here runs away with 1 HP, does manage to survive. And a deleted armory for some reason. Not sure what's going on there. Heavy infantry is coming in. Does Ebb have upgrades for himself in terms of copper mail? Not just yet. He is getting himself a second town center, which is definitely standard here. Second town center. And no armory upgrade here is a slight misplay here from Ebb. Get the copper mail, and if you can, get the bronze mail is very, very key here in this matchup. But we do see the raid now coming over here onto this location. The dwarves have been spotted, and Soup is going to lose even more economy here as Ebb has come onto this one. He does have a shockwave as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see him use this one to prevent the dwarves from escaping here as the Murmillo retreating away. So many dwarf picks here. And I don't think, with Shockwave, he shouldn't actually be able to get away, but it's looking like Ebb is not deciding to use Shockwave. Instead, just going to allow them to escape. 7 dwarves remaining there. The villagers moving up onto this hunt over on this location as the Hearser getting some damage done, but medium Murmillo is in. Bronze weapons coming through for Ebb. Ebb actually deciding to go for weaponry over armor here. For one reason or another, it's going to be a big, big help nonetheless, as we do see a raid up onto this location. The heavy Murmillo are already over here sniping down these Hearser of Soup. Nice play. We see the Stymphalian Bird going to come in and take down the troll incredibly quickly. The Stymphalian Bird does win this fight. It's not close at all. And the Hearser getting pulled back. The dwarves the citizen all happily gathering in on this location. We've got all those hero Murmillo here, and Ebb is in a commanding position. The Stymphalian Bird flying overhead. Soup not able to use his flaming weapons anytime soon. This citizen here with 6 HP. We do see a citizen kill for Soup. Big victory. Big victory as the village is finishing up over here. The dwarves have been pushed back. The Stymphalian Bird can sit on the gold mine. And in that moment, Soup does decide to tap out. GG. Ebb putting on a little bit of a masterclass here in the Oranos versus Loki matchup. The only thing that I would have liked to see different here from Ebb is instead of bronze weapons, bronze mail. And the reason why you want mail over weapons is it reduces the amount of favor that your opponent can get from attacking you, as opposed to if like your unit attacks more. I think armor in general is better than weaponry, and especially if your opponent has only got one damage type. If there's 2 damage type, maybe a little bit different story, but against Norse, they only deal hack damage, so bronze mail could be the only way better. Suppe here played this one really nicely up until a point. He managed to miss his armory for way too long. His heroic age came in way too late. If we actually take a quick look at that before we jump out of this game, you can see Suppe's heroic age is 12 minutes and 12 seconds. But if we look at the resources, he had the resource to advance at 9 minutes 27. This is when he had the resources, right? He had himself 10 minutes. At 9 minutes 30, he had himself 800 food. That was when he needed to advance for a 10:30 advance time, the same time at which Ebb hit the heroic age. If he hit the heroic age roughly the same time as Ebb, he gets his flaming weapons timing push, and then we actually get a really interesting game because I feel like Ebb was in a good position to defend, but he still would take a lot of damage, and Suppe would have done a lot of damage with his flaming weapons, but that didn't happen. Suppe lost all his villagers here and could not recoup the army. GG, well played by Ebb. GG!